Okay, hi there, Lynn, via Zoom. I'm Justin Chenette, as everyone knows. I made the decision not to run for state senate, which meant Donna Bailey stepped up to the plate to run for the Senate seat, and that left Donna Bailey's House seat available in House District 14. And luckily, Councilor Lynn Copeland, has decided to step up to the plate and represent our great city of Saco as state representative. And so, Lynn, let's start there. Why do you want to be state representative?
I want to be state representative because I want to take the issues of Saco and raise them up to the state level. We have issues of erosion down here in Camp Ellis and all along our beachfront. And I think that having someone up there who's been the city council ward for that area and has a lot of that background and knows who to talk to in the area for more information to raise it up, because we're going to need that support from the state. And there's also so many issues that I think that we can raise, with that regarding the environment specifically. I think alternative energy sources. I think why not have aquaculture down here in our bay? That would bring jobs. That would bring maybe some slower wave action if it really gets out there and they put it in that way. It might slow down. I'm not a science engineer, marine engineer, but I want to be on the Marine Resources Committee. So I want to focus on a healthy beach. And I want to bring the issues of erosion, because really, I do think that a lot of our economic, a lot of positive economics come out of our beach. Let's face it, it is a
big driver. Absolutely.
The huge driver. So if we build it, we saw that when we dredged the river and we put the sand out there in Camp Ellis. Yes, it washed away. But when it was there, that beach was full. The rentals were all full. People were eating in our downtowns. So it really does bring, a rise in our economy here. And we're actually talking about a local sales tax. I'd love to hear from everybody on that issue, and I want to hear from everybody on all these issues, because I am looking to be your voice like I am at the city council, and feedback from you is essential. And I really appreciate all the people who do communicate with me, and I do take that with me in all my decisions. So I think that aquaculture down there, growing kelp is a big market. I know UNE has a small farm out there, and they're studying different things with that. So I don't see why we couldn't have that. I've talked to some of the fishermen about it, and we'd have to be careful so that we don't interfere with their livelihoods. But I think that that could bring jobs and a lot of economic prosperity to Saco, lowering it for the seniors and the people who are having trouble with their taxes. I just can't, I have such a hard time when I hear a story of somebody saying, well, I have to leave because Saco's taxes is too high. I'm like, no. First of all, we have resources right in the city. And, you can talk to the folks there. But I want to take all these issues up to Augusta. I want to talk up there and get behind legislation. And I had a nice constituent email me the other day about the schools and what legislation would I be behind regarding the schools. Well, hello, let's get that 55% funding that we're supposed to have. It's just not been appropriated. So I would be a big advocate for that, because I think that's really important. I think transportation, we're doing great things in transportation down here in Saco. And I think that, we could, it's expensive. It's expensive. We're giving, they're going to be moving indoor, or they're into our train station already working there. And we may need some help with that financially, because that costs, and we're supporting them. And so we have to be careful not to go too far into that, but transportation is a really big issue around the whole state. So I don't see why. I really feel like Saco could benefit from help from the state on the state level, and certainly
Absolutely.
putting our voice out there, because we have some really good people working on that at this level. So taking that information up could be helpful for a lot of people.
Let's talk about your experience on the Saco City Council. This is now, I think, your second term on the Saco City Council. Talk a little bit about not just what you've pushed for on the council, but also all the different committees and commissions that you sat on, because honestly, I have a hard time keeping track. You're involved in so many aspects of Saco.
I am. I love Saco. I think everybody knows that. But and I love being on the city council. Sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes it's late at night. It's a lot of stuff going on. But I really feel like it's a great place to make a difference. And I want to take those things and bring them up. But let me talk about the commissions I was on. I am on. I'm on Shoreline Commission, which is down in Camp Ellis and Kinney Shores. Any issues that come up down there? So very recently there was parking has been an issue down there for a long time, for years. And so just within a month, we were able to get no parking signs in front of the Kinney Shores community and in front of Camp Ellis. So when people are coming down the streets, it's not cars everywhere. And over by King Street, I met with the neighbors there, and we were able to get that accomplished. We went through with the safety committee, where Deputy Chief Huntress is, and Chief Clement came out and met with the neighbors as well. And it was fantastic. Everybody coming together and coming up with a solution and implementing it. I mean, it was done within a week. It was crazy. Yeah, it was fantastic. So if you have the chance, take a ride down Seaside and you will enjoy it. The S-curve does not have cars all over it. It's just that one section where there's just single houses that people can park at. So that's fantastic, and that gives an opportunity for people in our community to go down to our beaches, and it's not flooded everywhere. And so there are some really good things about that. So that's the Shoreline Commission. The big focus in that committee is the erosion in Camp Ellis, and coming up with a workable agreement with the Army Corps of Engineers. We've worked with the our federal delegation, and we've made progress once before, and now there's another good push. Our current mayor is way behind all this. He's really supportive of us finding a solution down there. We have a city administrator who is working on it as well, and I really feel like we're going to have a solution down there. It's happening. It's really happening. And so that's the Shoreline. I'm also on Coastal Waters. Coastal Waters is really about the river, the marina, the moorings, we have a partnership with Biddeford, and we're working on, we actually right now have our police boat down there. Well, I don't know if you want to call it that, but our city boat, well, it is a police boat, because there's a cop on there from Saco and a cop on there from Biddeford. So it's a joint effort. It's our boat, and they patrol. And I've been up and down the Saco River 6 times in my kayak this summer already, because we're locked in here. So, but they're good. They don't see a life jacket, they'll ask you. They'll come over and talk to you, and they're very friendly, and it gives a good sense of safety and security down there. So they're up and down the lower part of the Saco River, the tidal area. And so we have 43 commercial fishermen in our community that come out of Saco. They work out of Saco, out of the Camp Ellis launch and moorings. And so that, our harbor master is fantastic. I mean, he grew up just a few doors down. He knows this river. He lives and breathes it.
He does, yeah.
He's fantastic. And so he's a good advocate for everybody playing nice out there. And, sometimes people are under the gun or whatever, and maybe didn't have enough coffee. I don't know. But so he works real hard to keep everybody happy down there. But more than that, to keep everybody following the rules. Because when we have everybody following the rules, then everybody knows what their limits are. And, if they're outside their limits, then they'll, have to understand that there are limits. So he's really good about that. And so that's one of the things that we work on. He also the chapter 118, those are the rules of the river, if you will, our coastal water river. And so we've worked on those for a long time, and just trying to build a relationship with the folks on the other side of the river, because there are many. And so we work on all of those issues, and it's really, really interesting. I find it interesting. Maybe I'm a geek, but I love everything about the water. And so it's a fun, spicy group to belong to, and I really enjoy it. And so I'm going to take some of those issues also up to, Augusta. Maybe, let's see about our waterways and ways to maybe even get them cleaner, because, some people talk about, there's stuff still down under that silt in the Saco River, and I think that it could be healthier even still. And I agree that the Goose Fair Brook has a problem, an E. coli problem over there, and just makes me cringe when people go swimming in there. There are some signs, but I want to get to the bottom of that. I mean, that affects our community. It affects our kids our grandkids going into the little creek over there to play. And so I know that there's Maine Healthy Beaches working on that, and they're doing a really good job. I know that in Saco, our Parks and Rec goes down to the ocean and takes measurements and samples of the water out in the ocean to make sure everybody's safe. But I think a little bit more resources could be used on that, because there's been some great initiatives, but as soon as the money dries up, so do the initiatives. So I think that that's something that I would be very interested in and working on.
You've also been involved in the Conservation Commission too.
Oh yes, absolutely. I was a former chair of it, and then I got my council seat, and I wasn't allowed to be anymore, so now I'm the council liaison. But wow, so we've got, so I'll start with my idea about everything is like a circle. It's like a cycle. So the woman from Maine Molecular in our business park came before the was it the Economic Development Commission, I think, and I was just poking around, going to different committees from time to time to see what's going on, because apparently I don't have a life other than that. I don't know, but so I listened to her, and she's like, we've got some really great biotech happening over here, but I can't get scientists to come. And she laid it out. She said, if we get, so she's like, well, when people get out of college, they look around, they're like, well, now where do I go? And she says, I want them to come here. But, they have all these other choices. So it was that moment, and I should connect with her again and tell her how she inspired me, but it was that moment that I realized that we had to have infrastructure to bring people here. If we want to live, work, and play, and we want to bring our taxes down, we need businesses here. So if we get the trails all, cleaned up and like the Conservation Commission is doing, they went around, took photographs at all of our parks, wrote up little blurbs, made a chart of what it has. So dog-friendly, senior-friendly parking, no parking, just whatever they came up with. And this is going to be going on a phone app. I mean, this is like the coolest thing. So if somebody wants to come to Saco, and I think this has bigger implications than just everybody moving here, I think it has to do with people visiting. What a great place. We don't have to go far. Look, they've got everything. Here's this, and it'll, GPS will follow you, and if you're at the trailhead, it'll tell you. Yeah. And so then you can go on the trail, not worry about, getting lost and ended up in Canada. You have the GPS, it'll bring you right back, a little bit of breadcrumbs.
That could help promote nature-based tourism, not to mention quality of life just for us locals,
Yes,
yeah.
People are out and about. It's very exciting. The trails are really an important piece here. You saw during the pandemic we had to close the heath because it was just a one-way in, one-way out. It wasn't safe during the pandemic. Wow, what a buzz. That place, all of our parks are used.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is wonderful. This is what they're for. And so, and the other thing is that the Conservation Commission has been working on planting trees and ideas about trees all the time. And there's just so much going on in there, and that's really exciting to me. And so, let's see. So we've done shoreline,
Coastal waters
coastal
and
waters,
conservation.
conservation. So the next month is Parks and Rec Advisory Board. I'm the council liaison for that as well. And they worked kind of in tandem with the Conservation Commission with the parks. In fact, our director, Ryan Summer, took the park bus and took the members of both commissions. We connected and we took a tour of the parks. I mean, we actually went out, sat on the swing and saw this and saw that. And
That's helpful.
it was really helpful because people were like, I didn't know this was here.
Right.
And I hear from some people that, well, we have a neighborhood park, but it's just for our neighborhood. Well, I tell you what, those neighborhood parks are for the neighborhood, the whole neighborhood. So, we're going to bring an awareness piece to that. There's going to be some signs posted. So it's not, you can't say, move along, this is ours. No, it's all of ours. And
It's the whole community. Yeah.
We'll share. We'll all cooperate and share. So lots of things going on there. The Parks and Rec, oh my goodness. I'm sure you heard about it because I'm sure you were a part of it too. But the feeding the seniors during the pandemic
Was a wonderful one. For 13 weeks, we spent every Friday serving free hot meals for seniors. I mean, it's just a good testament of how our community comes together to help people.
It was amazing. And so there were all those folks on the ground, but on Tuesday nights, there was a whole group of us who were, planning and making sure everybody had what they needed and it was going to go well and it was going to be fair. And, that was a fantastic way to help feed and show that we care about our seniors and help our businesses, our local businesses, because
get them afloat. Yeah.
That was wonderful. And that was, age-friendly Sacco and Gene Saunders. Wow, what an effort. I mean, those people really, they, like me, they felt like it wasn't the right thing to be around other people. They made hundreds of phone calls. They organized pickup boxes filled with food to bring to people from the food shelter. So it was really an amazing thing on all fronts. People showing up, and our resource officer also helped, and she delivered food. And so that's the kind of community that we have. Everybody pitches in when it's time, and when it's important enough, we have to raise our voices to make sure that things happen. Right. Because that could have just gone by the side of the way, and everybody could have said, well, it's a pandemic and we really can't do that. Well, we did. And it's because everybody stood up and did it. So those are all of these things that happen make me think if we had more state support, maybe we could have dipped into some of that. And I know that there's some COVID money, but I just think generally, I think this exemplifies the need that people have. There are people who are shut in and can't get out, and we need better connections and ways to reach out, and all of these things cost money, and I think that at the state level we should be supporting all Mainers. And so we do really good work at the Parks and Rec. We got the new tennis courts all resurfaced, and we're working on the individual community parks. Some of them have been up for like 30 years, and the swing sets are falling down. They're dangerous, and Ryan is getting right out there, and he's putting new surfaces down and putting new equipment up. And the numbers, not necessarily at this moment during the pandemic, but in the very near future, near past before that, the numbers were up like incredibly with the age-friendly Sacco and with the Sacco seniors. The events at the community center and the trips that they went on were, probably like, it's very possible that that's the only human interaction some of these people can have. So that works, and a collaboration between them and the transportation. We've worked hard to get the buses to go into areas where they can get a lot of people and bring them to their medical areas. And so that's all been part of the plan, and that's what transparent government is. Let's talk about everything that's going on and say, when you're doing your routes, could you think of this? And I think, I think collaboration is huge. And I'll say, I'm an Emerge Maine grad. I went through that wonderful program where women recruit, train, and raise them up to win offices and support them afterwards. My Emerge sisters are everything to me, and I certainly encourage young Democratic women to sign up and go through that program. But that program gave me the tools that I needed to run and win. And I don't imagine that I'll ever go for a race that I'll lose. But if I do, I'll keep on trying. But the skills that they have given me and the connections in terms of who's, great at this and who's great at that, so it's more of understanding.
Support network.
A support network,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I've made a lot of, I've met a lot of people through the events that they have. And I'm really, really excited to connect with the people in Augusta. I've gotten so many, since I made the announcement, I've gotten so many instant messages and so forth saying, oh, I can't wait to see you up here. You're going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. And because they know I'm a hard worker, I'm going to continue doing it till I get it done. And I don't give up. I don't give up.
No, I definitely know that about you. You definitely don't give up, and definitely persistent, which is always a good quality to have.
Nevertheless, she persisted.
See, exactly.
There you go.
So you should have that on your campaign sign, Lynn.
I think it's already been taken, but I'll tell you what, those are guiding words for me, because I can.
Yeah.
And as long as I can, I will.
Yeah.
So that's important.
So speaking of Democratic politics, obviously you've been trained by Emerge Maine as a Democratic candidate, and we're now selecting our Democratic nominee for state representative. You've been a part of Democratic politics for so many years in such a variety of different ways. Can you talk a little bit about that connection? Oh,
what a connection. I mean, not many things make me happier than to be in a room full of Democrats, because they speak the truth, they have values, and they want to make everything better for everyone. So I've been involved with the Saco Dems. I was the secretary for a while. I go to the York Dem meetings all the time and have made some great connections there, and listen to people and listen to their issues in their communities, and watched all the candidates come in and talk about their ideas. So it's really inspirational that you can see that real people have had real experiences and are turning them into real solutions for others. It's just amazing, and I would be so proud to do that. But I was also on the I was very interested in what is the Democrats really all about. And so I did a lot of research. I talked to Phil Bartlett, who used to be the chair of the Maine Dems, and Kathleen Mara is our chair now, and she is amazing.
She is.
Yes, and we have Kathy Purdy here in Saco, who just let's raise it up for her. But I ended up going on the platform committee because I cared about these issues, and I read the platform, and it was this whole worded thing, and it really needed some work. And so I thought, let's bring Saco's perspective into the Democrats for the state. So I did. It was a very enlightening process and experience. And some people were like, at the convention. I've been to the convention. I've been a state convener twice, and some of the people are like, well, the platform, do we really have to go about that? Yeah, we do. That's important. That's our guiding document. Our legislators look at that to see what everybody has agreed are our priorities. So there are votes during the convention to say, yes, they like the change. No, they don't like the change. So it's our living document. And, and at that, I met a lot of people who were very active in government up there. So just even more connections. And you hear about people, oh, this guy, he was a marine biologist and this one. So you start to understand who people are, and that, that they're really excited about their field, and I need to tap into that. Yeah. And I need to say, hey, let's join up and let's do this and do that.
So it's been great that you've been such a part of democratic politics for so long. I think that's really important. And I think an important question, I think, in this particular race as well, is as we're going into the general election, is supporting the entire Democratic ticket, whether we're talking Joe Biden for president and Kamala Harris as vice president, and also the very important U.S. Senate seat against Susan Collins. Do you support Sarah Gideon? Obviously, we really need to
I
behind
do.
her.
Sarah Gideon is an emerging person,
Right.
and she is through the roof awesome. She is really good. She's the one that's going to lead us through here. She does it because she wants to. Yep. She really has the passion, and she has listened to a lot of people on both sides of the aisle. She did take the red and the blue, the lefts and the rights, and mix them up a bit. So that was one way to get people to reach across the aisle. But she really wants to get things done, and she really cares about people. She really does. I mean, she wants our lives to be better. She cares about kids having lunch, and school. So, people say it, but people don't necessarily get that a child could go to school without having food.
Yeah.
How in the world are they supposed to learn?
Gotta have basic needs. Yeah.
We gotta have those things. There's a whole triangle about this, but you gotta have shelter, you have to have food, and you have to have safety. Yeah. And so those are things that she is all about, and healthcare. Yeah. I think, this pandemic is case in point, where you can't have employer connected insurance. With all these millions of people out of work now, there's their insurance. Yeah. That's horrifying.
Very scary.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's another thing. Healthcare is something to work for.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit, I want to get personal, Lynn, and talk about the fact that
open book here,
right? As a foster parent, you have, I think, a unique set of circumstances where you really understand the importance of supporting Maine's next generation, Maine's youth, and I think you've really prioritized that on the Saco City Council. Can you talk a little bit about how that shaped your values, shaped your politics, and the things that you fought for because of that background?
Well, let me go into that background, because it goes way back.
Yeah.
I had amazing parents, and they took in, or we, because it was all of us, we had a foster brother who is still my foster brother. He's a physicist in Seattle now. He's retired, but he's amazing. 2 of his daughters were Olympic hopeful swimmers, but the years were off. I mean, just amazing what happens when you can value a child. Yeah. And so when his father got remarried and he was able to live in a place that was safe, my parents didn't stop there. We had Fresh Air Fun Kids for, I don't know, had to be 4 or 5 years. We had one sister who brought another sister. Before you know it, we had all 3 of them. And, it was just fun. We just went to the beach, and they were just kids just like I was just kids. But I learned a lot from that, because I learned that not everybody grew up in the white privileged world that I did, and that they were people too. And so my parents, I think, were open-minded, open-hearted, and brilliant. So that got into me that, everybody matters. So even though we don't have to worry about this and that, and other people do, and it matters. So having foster kids around and other people around was normal for me. So it was just how it was when I grew up. And I raised 2 kids. One's 30 with Master's in Public Health, and my son is 28 has a great job at Unum. He is a computer programmer. So I know that when you have kids who are supported, that they can be successful. So when they flew the nest, and even when they were still here, we had, along with them, I had foster kids. And boy, they really need people to care about them. They deserve a normal childhood. So you'd be surprised at how many foster kids are here in Saco. And, you listen to people talk about all these, the kids, they, the behaviors and this and that. It's not because of them. It's because their parents couldn't parent them. And so they didn't have the skills and reach out, and nobody really helped them enough. So I think that we need to help parents be parents, and I think that we need to support the children in the community. So, one of the things, when you have a foster kid, oftentimes you go to the mental health appointments with them, not necessarily with them at the same time, but, they go in, you go in, kind of like a family counseling thing, but it's just to help the foster parents support the child, with the issues and so forth. And one of our counselors, he was right over here in the Kimball Center in Saco, and he was like, you really, I was telling him I was going to run for council because I needed to do this, because the kids need a voice. And I found out how many other voices and all that. But so that's, that's another story. But he offered to help. He's like, we need to do something. And so that stuck with me. And so I was on the Park and Recs Advisory Board liaison. And every once a month meeting, they'd come up and they'd have all these great things for the toddlers and the young schoolers and the older ones and, the seniors. But there was this gaping gap between kids who were like in 6th grade through 9th grade. So when you're in 6th grade, you don't want to be in an aftercare program with a 2nd grader. It's just not cool, and that's just not socially appropriate. Yep. You're not giving anything to that kid. He's feeling like he's just tossed in. Yep. So, and then the older kids, until they can get a job and drive a car, there's really, they're just going to be what we used to call in the olden days latchkey. So, they go home and they wait a couple hours for their parents to come home. But having foster kids and being a diligent parent, we caught them red-handed, dropping a backpack off at the library and scooting around town. Yeah. And I'm not going to go into the specifics of it, but it's very definitely a problem. And when you one day find you're going on a vacation and you have to pick them up early and you find them at Shaw's hanging out with 11th graders, that's a problem. Mm-hmm. We have an opiate, I don't know if you can call it a pandemic, but an opiate crisis for sure. Mm-hmm. Everywhere, and it doesn't escape Saco. It's here. There are people, and we spend lots of money. Our ambulance and our resources go to this. So why not instead take the money and support the children to be children? So at these Parks and Rec advisory meeting, we go over all the agendas for everybody else, and every time I'd say, what about the teens? Oh, we got a room that when the cheerleaders downstairs aren't using it, the teens can use it. It's a blank walled room, blocks, cement floor, and nothing.
Not going to work.
It's zero draw.
No.
And he's tried some programs at the middle school and so forth, but I've always felt that they need a place of their own.
Yep.
A place where they design it without programs. So we're not going to, okay, everybody, we're going to be over here doing crafts and this and that. Let them do that. Guide them. But let them make decisions, because that's what parents do. They raise the kids up so that they are confident decision makers and they make good decisions.
And you fought for the creation of a teen center in the city.
I did.
Yeah.
So when I was advocating about that, Ryan Summer was talking to Rob Biggs, who saw that this was available. And the two and two got put together, and I was like, yes, we did it. We did it, because it's funny because the firm that I work for, Bernstein Scher in Portland, is amazing. And they have community service days. The day that everybody was going for the tour on this School Street building, I was actually doing community service at the former church in Biddeford, St. Andre's over there. And we were, cleaning up brush and cleaning out the inside. They were going to make it a community center too. And so I had to leave there to go see about ours. I was on top of the world that day. It's like all these people are working to make sure somebody else's life is better. And, I've had so many people approach me, well, I have this expertise and I've set up some organization. So the whole community is going to come together. People are like, I have a piano that I don't want.
Yeah.
You know, there are people who I have sewing machines. And so this is going to be the best thing ever. You know, there's a kitchen in there. They can have spaghetti suppers on Friday night if they want to. You know, there's going to be somebody checking them in. And if they leave, they have to sign themselves out and their parents can see this. So we're going to be safe. It's not going to be you come in, you go out. No.
There'll be oversight. Yeah.
There'll be oversight. And one of the things is there's no parking really at that location, which is probably why we got such a good deal on it. One of the reasons. But we've already connected with the school transportation department. They're going to bus them from the middle school over.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
So after school, they have somewhere to go. And then their parents can come one by one or whatever and pick them up or carpool or whatever. But it's going to work, and it is going to be fantastic. It's going to change lives. And it's also going to help parents. They don't have to worry. You know, their kids are going to be okay.
And it's those kind of creative solutions that I think are going to be really impactful for you to be at the State House, because, you know, sometimes you have to think outside the box. I mean, how many people would think, let's create a teen center? You know what I mean? So I think that that's really impactful to have somebody like yourself, Lynn, that thinks like that and is advocating for all age brackets, but really zeroing in on the folks that need a little attention. And sometimes that's all it is we need to listen and we need to focus in on those areas. Yeah. Absolutely.
Because if we don't do something and show the kids that we value them, when they grow up, they're, you know, if they get into drugs, they'll be breaking into our houses. And we all want them to grow up to be citizens. We want them to be proud of Saco now and be the leaders tomorrow in Saco, saying, this place has all these resources. We have a river. We have, you know, all these trails, we have all these resources, and let's be proud of them. Let's use them, and let's just bring it forward.
So as we wrap up our time, because we could probably keep talking, Lynn, for hours, which we have done before.
We have.
I mean, this is a thing.
We can do this.
But
we'll kayak.
Right, then we'll go kayak, yeah. But wrapping up our time together, what would be, obviously the caucus is this Saturday, and at the end of the video, we're going to talk a little bit about those details, but what would be sort of the lasting message about leadership, or the lasting message that you want to give to folks that might show up at the Democratic voters that'll show up on Saturday for the caucus about Lynn Copeland and why Lynn Copeland should be the next Democratic nominee for state representative?
Well, number one is local experience. I know this community. I knocked on 700 doors to talk to people. It's a bigger area physically than the Ward 4, but District 14 is still, we're all neighbors. So I think that I would be a great voice to take our issues, everyone's input, because this is not just my world here. I totally see myself as a vehicle for getting things done, and input is always needed. And so I think my experience, I think my, I work in a legal job, so I am not at all put off by legal jargon. That's, the world that I live in. So I'm comfortable with that, and I know how the process works. I have a Justin Jeanette coloring book that helps with the process.
As long as you like whoopie pies, that's really sold, yeah.
But I really think that I've been a good voice for my constituents down here. We've gotten, some real progress. We've gotten the parking situation fixed. We are working diligently with hopefully something on the horizon for the erosion. And that's a really big issue. That's like millions of dollars. I work hard on the budget. We spend a lot of time. Our budget here is like $58 million. And so I really feel like I can I've learned how the municipal process works here and what things Augusta can help with. And I know what we need done here. And I think that we also could use some help with economic development in terms of getting people here so we have people who can work. There are so many people who they can't find help. They can't find skilled people. So we need to open our doors to others. And I think that's something that has to be from that level, at the state level. And I know that I have really big shoes to fill in Donna Bailey's seat, but I know that Donna is a friend and a mentor to me, and I will keep that relationship up, of course. She's my neighbor too. And so I think that I have really good support. And I think I have really good experience. I think the skills I've learned from Marriage Maine and the fact that I am a true blue Democrat, I think that I am the best candidate. And I would be honored to have the votes of my constituents. So the important way to get that to happen is to show up on this Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, because everybody has to be checked in. It's only the people in District 14. So we want to see you out there. It's going to be, there's going to be social distancing, masks, all the precautions. We have Kathy Purdy, who is, can run anything, and she is attentive to every detail. We'll be safe, because quite frankly, if we weren't going to be safe, I wouldn't be going. I keep myself pretty well isolated in this dining room. You might have seen these curtains 1,000 times on the council meetings, but I'm very careful because I don't want to get it. I don't want to transmit it. So we're going to be safe. So come at 10, bring a chair if you need a place to sit.
Yeah, and so it's so from 10 to 11 there's check-in, and then again this is on the Foss Road off 112 Phoenix Field. There's a parking lot that's adjacent to the transfer station. Yep. Right. And so wear your mask. People can bring hand sanitizer, bring a lawn chair, bring a pen for voting. There'll be a little check-in. Again, House District 14 goes from downtown to the beach. If Donna Bailey was on your ballot in the past, then you're in most likely District 14. And so it's just those Democrats that can show up to participate in the caucus. So it should be hopefully a nice day out on Saturday. But it's really important that we, get out and participate in this caucus and to support Lynn. And Lynn, I just have to say, obviously I've known you for quite a few years now. We've worked together on so many important issues, whether it's coastal erosion or conservation issues or just out in the community. And for me, community involvement is critical, particularly community involvement in the community that you're seeking to represent. And not just when you want something. Because oftentimes every election cycle, there's always candidates that come around that ask me for, a vote. And it's like, well, what have you done up until this point? What have you, you don't always have to have a title or a position to make a difference, but what have you done to showcase the values of our community? What have you done to be involved in the community? And I always see you out and about. You're going to everything. Obviously, pre-pandemic, you've gone to every single Saco Main Street event, the Bark in the Park fundraiser that we have for our dog park. So many important things. And
I was in the bed race.
You were in the bed race, yes, for the Harvest Fest, yes. And I think if you can be in the bed race for that, that you're golden. But I mean, that's important. That visibility is important. That accessibility as an elected official is important. And so I, of all people, really value that, and I see that in you. And that I don't say that about a lot of people. So.
Well, you exemplify that, Justin, as well. You're very good about that. But I think that if you are a leader in a community, you need to be accessible to people who can say, there's that issue over there, and there's a puddle at the end of my driveway all the time, and I really can't say, whatever it is. Or, hey, that's school. We need to pull this together, or whatever the issues are. If you're not out and about and you're not approachable, and people don't see you enough and aren't comfortable approaching you, I think everyone who sees me should say, "Hey, Lynn," and wave. Don't be shy. I'd love to say hi to you. But the important thing is to show up for this event. So this event on Saturday is a special caucus, and the sole purpose is to nominate someone for Donna's vacated House seat. So if if It depends on who's there to vote. It's only those people who are there physically to vote.
This is it.
This is it.
So this
So
is
I'm
who we're
standing there.
selecting. Yep.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I need everybody to show up.
Yeah.
You know, no matter who you vote for, you need to show up, be a part of this.
Right.
You know, that's we can take that to, you know, November 3rd, where everyone has to show up.
And I think it's really important that we as Democrats really think who's going to be our strongest candidate to go against the Republican candidate in the fall, because that's a real.
And I do have there is a Republican opponent.
Right. And so who we have as our candidate is critical, because we really need to have a democratically controlled House and Senate. You know, coming from that environment, I've served in both the minority and the majority. It's not fun being in the minority. We've done so much incredible work in the legislature under Governor Mills and a democratically led legislature. Let's not stop that momentum in that progress by, you know, putting potentially, you know, a wrong individual in a nominee slot. I think, Lynn, you're the strongest candidate that we have, having served on the council, having been involved in the community. You get Saco, and you're all about Saco, and I think that that's really critical. So I hope everyone shows up this Saturday. Check-ins from 10 to 11 off the Foss Road, Phoenix Field, near the transfer station. If you have any questions, you can contact Kathy Purdy. You can go over to the Saco Dems Facebook page, or her contact information's there. You can reach out to us. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. Lynn, just wrapping up, how can people contact you in the final hours and moments before the caucus? If somebody has a question, how can they reach you?
Open book. My cell phone number is on the City of Saco website. So fair game. Call me. My number is 207-712-6776. I also have an email address. Please don't email any political things to the city email address that's on the website. But my personal email is Copeland for Saco. So it's COPELANDFORSACO@gmail.com. And I live at 526 Ferry. You can knock on a door. You'll see some signs out in the yard, but go blue.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm very accessible, and I do want to hear from you.
Okay.
And at the caucus itself, I'm going to have one of those. I have a little, you know, like 10 by 10 pop-up tents. So, and I'm going to have a couple extra chairs. So come say hi. You know, don't be shy. Tell me who you are and what's important to you. I want to hear it. And I'll tell you what's important to me, because we're going to have my opponent and I are both going to speak for a few minutes. So,
well, great.
We'll see you then.
Well, great. Well, and I'll be there. I'm bringing Edward too. He's like, oh yay! So we'll be participating. So we're looking forward to supporting you, Lynn, both Edward and I, and looking forward to the speeches as well. And again, hope everyone participates. And thanks, Lynn, for taking some time to chat with me. I know we may have ran over time, but hopefully this gives people at least a glimmer into your values, what you fight for, your background. Obviously, we could keep going, but if folks have questions, definitely reach out to Lynn. She's accessible. She's there for you. And we're looking forward to the caucus on Saturday.
And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the bicycle and pedestrian committee in Saco. That's another one that I'm on, and watch out for them. Things are happening.
You see, there's a never-ending list. We'll just keep going. Well, thanks, Lynn, and thank you guys for watching. Again, we'll see you, hopefully, Saco Democrats in House District 14 Saturday, starting at 10 a.m. Near the transfer station. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Senator Shanad.